You know what time it is, y'all. You know what time it is. It's morning time. And as I always say, always, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. But guess what, y'all? This is the Baltimore spotlight. You know, it's the thing when it's the spotlight, baby. I told y'all, God made me, but the streets of Baltimore created me. And I always shine a light on everything positive, everything good, because there is a better Baltimore. So today, we are going to be talking with Mr. Vaughn Vargas. Vaughn, listen, you came highly recommended. You came bringing your own light, man. Your light was shining even before you got here on the station. How are you today?
I'm good. I can't complain. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited, and yeah, this is the second interview that I did today, so it's exciting.
I mean, I guess it's just because it is who you is, right? You are who you are. So when you made on purpose for purpose, you're gonna be out there doing your purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, Vaughn, I was talking to my girl Shannon, and she was just telling me we were talking about music, and we were talking about great people of Baltimore, and we were talking about people who are not just great people, but doing great things, and a big part of the beautiful part of Baltimore, right? The better Baltimore. So, she didn't really give me a whole lot about what it is you do and who you are, but I did go and check out a little research and check out your music. So we'll talk about that and stuff. But Vaughn, what are you doing in music, and how in the world did you get connected to music and all the things that you're doing though?
Yeah, I mean, well, I've been doing music basically all my life. Started out around 5 years old. Well, my pops actually said I started at age 2.
Oh
Just
wow.
because, yeah, just because he said I used to take the tape player everywhere, his and I would play his tape over and over and over again. And so I do remember around that time when I would, go to church and see the choir sing. And so I would be at my grandmom's house and I would act like I was directing the choir.
What?
And so, yeah, so I think through that, my uncle, he played drums. I mean, I'm talking early age.
Yeah,
I'm
because what I'm hearing from you right now though is literally you came from a musical background. Wait, let's go back here for a minute. You said you carried your father tapes around. What tapes your father had?
So my dad, he had a tape player, back in the day. It wasn't like the boom box, but it was. I don't know if you ever seen one of the old detective movies, and
The
they
little
and when they
cassette?
question, yeah, when they questioning somebody in the
Yes.
interrogation room, and they bring out this. It's not like it wasn't like a Walkman cassette player, but it was the other cassette player where it had the speaker on it, and
Mm-hmm.
you just push play, or
Vaughn.
you could push record.
Vaughn.
Yeah, I know you know what I'm
I
talking
was getting
about.
ready to say I'm old, man. Yeah, them tape
I
recorders,
know you know what I'm
absolutely.
talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, so he had one that I loved, like jacking, and so I was I was a young, well, 2 3 years old, so he would let me hold it,
Hmm.
so I would just walk around with it and just keep playing the tape over and over and over again. It was his tape. It was somebody by the name of Robert Smith. I don't remember the
Mm.
songs it was, but I just know I would play it over and over and over again.
Okay.
So that's really where it kind of started, and then seeing, yeah, I do have a musical family. My family, my grandma, my aunts, my uncle, cousins, a lot of them were heavily involved in music and, in church and music and things like that. So I'm saying all this to say I remember seeing my uncle playing drums all the
Hmm.
time, and I'm probably at least age 4 5, and so I'm home and I set up the encyclopedias as a set of drums.
What?
And I started acting like I had a set of drums and I would play the encyclopedias. And eventually my pop said, "Man, we gotta get him a set of drums." So that's when they got me a set of drums. And in the moment they got me a set of drums, then somebody said, "Hey, I want to be his drum teacher." And so
Wow.
this guy, he became my drum teacher every Saturday morning. He came to give me drum lessons. That's when I actually learned theory of drum and all of that. And
Hmm.
so I hated I hated having drum lessons on Saturday mornings because that's when cartoons was on.
Facts.
And my brothers, they got to watch the cartoons, but I got to knock at the door. I gotta have these drum lessons. So that really was like it bothered me, but I learned a lot during that time. So that's really how I got started
But wait a
in
minute, Vaughn,
music.
I'm gonna tell you what's so funny. When you just said that, let me tell you what it reminded me of. One of my favorite movies, Mo Better Blues. Do you remember that movie where that man had to practice that trumpet? The kids was outside playing, everybody was having fun, and he was in the house playing that daggone trumpet. Do you remember that movie?
I remember more about the blues. I do, yeah.
Absolutely. And just to throw this out here in my creative little mindset and everything, I think, I'm just throwing this out here. Next piece you do, I think really the album cover or some artwork which should have some drumsticks in that encyclopedia. I just saw that when you was talking. Like that says a lot because not only was it how you got started, but you just think about it. An encyclopedia, especially the World Book Encyclopedia, takes you around the world. So does music. You understand what I'm saying? So if you just happen to do some artwork like that, just put my little R on the side or something like that for Renee for the creativity.
Yeah, you got it. You
Because that
got
right
it.
there is powerful though.
Yeah, no, I mean when I think about today and I think about growing up, you very rarely find it's I don't even know if they have encyclopedias
They don't.
around anymore. Yeah, I know
Encyclopedia is
we got
Google now.
Wikipedia, yeah, old Wikipedia, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but so that was really a time where, I think it was a precious time, and the fact that I'm beating on these books
Yes.
I had drumsticks, so I'm
Mm.
beating on these books. It's like all these dents in the book. The wall was my cymbal, the table
Wow.
was my hi hat, and so it was a lot of dents in the wall, and so I could see him just that I ain't even get in trouble for it. They just was like, look, let's get him some drums, and so yeah, that's really where it all kind of started.
I want to say, because you just said something though, and I love when I hear things and I have to highlight them as well. You said they didn't say anything. Do you know how many parents, Vaughn, are like, stop beating my daggone books. Get off that. And it's like, you don't even understand that you got to connect and hone in on that God given talent and then do something with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta look at our kids and be like, oh, wait, I see you drawing little stick man or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Let me get you
Yeah.
a sketchbook and see what you do with that. And
Mhm.
then you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got a 10-year-old. And well, my 21-year-old, she started keyboard lessons and piano lessons. We were in California. And then she gave it up. She was like, man, I don't want to do it. And I was like, oh, okay. Even though she's really talented. I was like, all right, whatever. So I was like, I don't play. So I was getting ready to sell it. At the time, my baby, she almost 11 now. She'll be 11 in October. She was like, no, I want to play. And I tell you, she got on it, and at first she would just bang, 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 but she constantly would just get on it. I'm gonna send you a video. She's 10, self-taught. She did start getting some lessons and stuff though, but every time she's like Mimi, something she calls me Mimi. Every time I just feel like, I'm in a space or I just want to, connect with God, she will get in front of that keyboard and start playing and start singing. So I know that's
Wow.
something that she's doing. And so I'm not telling her to turn it down, and sometimes I'm like, but she sits there and she creates. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, that's what you do. I'm going to let you do that because, first of all, that's what you were purposed to do. A lot of us, and I'm going to let you finish because I really like where you're going, right? A lot of people, and I told her this just today, are stifled in a job or they're doing something that they're not purposed to do and they wonder why they're miserable. They wonder why they're depressed. They wonder why they've got anxiety. They're going through a whole psychological situation or whatever because they're not operating in purpose. So kudos to shining a light on your peoples too for letting you be just who you are. I wanna thank you for letting him be himself from start.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wait, so who was
Absolutely.
playing drums in the church? What church? What church?
So this was Doswell Cathedral Church of God in Christ. I was there at an early age,
Oh, you was getting
and
real drums then. You was at the Church of God in Christ, man. I was Catholic. You was getting drums for real.
yeah, no, he was my uncle. He was the guy on those drums. Hit him, and then my mom cousin. She was on the organ, and just a rich music heritage. She went to
Wow.
Howard doing music, and so just even she passed away a couple of years ago, but
Oh.
just to see the legacy that she even left musically and all that stuff, it was like, man, like this was crazy. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I think that my pops, he really encouraged me in that way because he's the one who brought me my first like turntable and all that when he saw that I had an interest in DJing. He brought me the turntables, and he let me, figure it out. I had a neighbor. Actually, he was one of my good buddies that I went to school with
Mhm.
and lived around the corner from me. And his mom, this was around the jukebox time
Mm-mm.
when jukebox was on TV.
Mhm.
So I'm in middle school, and
So wait, did you
his
go to school for music too, though?
I didn't, but
I love it.
in school we had bands, so I did have a music class where I
Mhm.
did learn some music theory, but I didn't go to school for music.
No,
But
I'm
his
saying that's a
mom,
good thing though. That it's a good. I'm only saying this because when you're gifted, sometimes going to school for what God gave you becomes a challenge because it's taught in the way of man, but God already gave you the gift in the way that He wants you to cultivate it, and it'll do what He wants you to do with it.
yeah, no, I agree. When I think back, I'll be like, man, I wish I would have went to the School of the Arts, but at that time, I was at City. So when I think back, I made some great relationships at Baltimore City College, and
Mhm.
just the legacy and the heritage of Baltimore City College is super strong and it's rich.
Mhm.
But sometimes I do be like, man, I wonder what that experience would have been like if
They
I went
probably would
to.
have taught the music out, tried to teach the music out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like I sing and was even considered for a Grammy. And people like it's funny because I sing and I sing. I've sang in groups and I've sang in lead as bands. I sang in productions and stuff like that. And so it would be I was even married to a music producer. But at any rate, what's funny is like we would get into something and they like, all right, I need you to come in on an A count. I'm like, you know, daggone well, I don't know what that means. Just put your finger up and twirl it, and then that's when I start singing. And they'd be like, Lord have mercy. And I mean, not to say that you shouldn't be educated in what you gifted in, but sometimes if you go the education route, it's all like technical and it's not authentic. It's not just genuine and organic, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, there are times when I work with some musicians who um, they have the theory down packed, but the creativity isn't there as
Nope.
much.
Nope.
So, I may be in a studio session with somebody who I brought in who have the theory, and but I have the creativity, and so I'll find that their creativity is minimal. They just do whatever you have on the paper in front of
Yeah.
them, and that's how they do it.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's why it takes a village. It takes the collaboration to help make it. But I do wonder sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, man, I think that one of those things is good about the and this could be higher learning. Say like if it was higher learning for
Mm-hmm.
music,
Mm-hmm.
one of those good things is just understanding that it's not just the education of it, but it's the network too.
Right.
And so when I think about people who went to like Berkeley College of Music and things like that, like they have a strong network. And so
Yeah.
you'll be in places and you'll be doing things, and you have people in the industry who have that behind their name, and they can kind of come together or give you may get an opportunity because you may be an alum from Berkeley or something
Right.
like that.
I
So
get that.
the networks are definitely just as important as the knowledge of what the skill is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I'm just gonna
So
hit you with this, and I get what you're saying, and I'm just gonna say this though, which I'm sure it is, and it will continue. Your gifts will make room for you. So
absolutely,
so that part right
absolutely,
there.
100%.
Yeah. So wait. So we got you playing the instruments, the drums, producing, DJing. I mean, whoa. Okay. Whoa. Right? So, I mean, one of the things I did is I listened to your music because I got a feel. I got drums, I got DJing, and I got the music background. But I've been doing a little research since, Shannon talked to me, and I'm like, I've looked at, your social media and your music. So, I mean, you can tell me a little bit about it because what I want to know is what message are you sending out with that music? Because I'm gonna tell you what I heard in a few of those things or whatever. But is there like an overall message that you're putting out? Like, do you have a niche? Is it something that you really honing in on with your music, or a certain type of people, or anything like that that you're doing? Or tell me about that.
Yeah, my overall message is always is taking people to a place of victory, understanding and knowing that, we can rise above whatever situations and circumstances that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on what song it is, where
Mm-hmm.
that message may speak super louder than others.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really like the overhaul of it. That's really the goal. The over arc of it is that that we all can have victory, and if we be who we were created to be, if we understand that we are royalty, that
Mm-hmm.
we were created in the image of God, and so if we see each other as such, and we able to walk according to that, that we can actually achieve those things that we're supposed to achieve. So that's really like the overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
But I like this to drop seeds here and there, sometimes subtle,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes more blatant, just
Right.
I'm a creative, so I don't want to always be boxed in where it's like, okay, your message is victory, so every song had to
Right.
have the word victory in it. But still, if you get down to the underlining of it all, that's really what it is. Making it through the challenges, the trials. Making sure
Absolutely.
that hope is still there. That that we can be triumphant and things like that.
Which is
Yeah.
what this whole platform is about, and creates in the creating of it, right? The fact of it's destiny over drama. And the thing is, my son went to city as well. And he was a performer, and he was doing rap in Baltimore. His rap name or performance name was Drama. And
Okay.
he passed away when he was 28. And so my song that was considered for a Grammy was titled Destiny. And God was telling me, there is destiny over drama, literally, figuratively, and spiritually. As long as I had breath in my body, I was still supposed to operate in purpose even after drama was gone. So that's drama in your life, any situation, circumstance, or challenge. You know what I mean? You don't have to succumb to that. You have the victory in that. We've been given, all authority, right, by God to overcome those things. So I like that. And I know that music is universal and transcending. So when we put that message in music, then it's going to go everywhere. And what we hear is what we feast on is what we feast on. So when I said your music, I was looking at it because I don't know how old you are, but I was checking out some of them beats, and I was listening to like some foundational good beats from back in the day. And so when I have two records, one that was a two singles, one that was a award winning single that was called Paralyzed, and the other one was Destiny. And the thing about it is, people's like, oh, you sing gospel. And I was like, I really wouldn't, because we box people, right? And I'm like, yeah, if that's where they put it in, I'm not going to argue with it per se, right? But I sing inspirational. I sing about overcoming. I sing where people can relate to what's going on, a positive, impactful statement and message to music. And that's what I
Um,
heard when I listened to your stuff. But I also like the fact that, like you said, as a creative, you didn't keep it in a pocket. It wasn't just all certain beat that everything sounded the same. I listened to about three of your cuts, and all of them were all whatever. They were so different, and they hit where they could fit in different areas. So as a tool of evangelism, it gets to go everywhere. Do you see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, absolutely.
And it was
Yeah.
ageless. I'm like, I know I'm not your age, but when I was listening to I think it was the one of them, I think it was about Air, being the air or so. Oh, yo, our head was bumping. I was like, okay, yeah, I would have to turn that all the way up. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, and I'm not even in your genre or your, I mean, in your age group, but the message in the music was still impactful for anybody to catch it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you talking about Air with Shannon?
Oh, I didn't even. No, 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 no. Wait a minute. See, now you're gonna have me go back.
Uh, okay, you talking about Air with Josh? Oh yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay. Okay,
yes.
yeah, so it's two Air. So on the new album, I have a song called Air with Shannon. So it's Heir.
Okay.
But you're talking about AIR. That's the one you talking about in the air with Josh. I got it. I
Okay.
understand.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
while we on that, I'm saying, so you gonna send them MP3s over, right? So we can spin this on the station too.
You know, I do have a single that we did release. I'll definitely get that over to you that we can
Yeah.
yeah.
Let them hear it. Let them listen. Let them hear it on the station. D.O.D. Destiny over drama. The message that Vaughn has is like, listen, you are able to overcome anything that we. I always say this, and so the connect with you saying it as well is just, I mean, divine alignment with the fact that as long as you have breath in your body, you have the ability to overcome. You do not have to succumb to any kind of bondage at all.
Absolutely.
At all. So, I mean, Vaughn, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
So I'm 46, 40,
Okay.
46, 47, one of the others.
Not the 46, 47, Vaughn.
I, you know what? I done lost track. Once I hit 40, I lost track. But I think I'm 47, I believe.
Okay.
I gotta check. I gotta check and
And
see.
the only reason I asked is because, we're losing some things. I had this conversation, or I have a lot of conversations, but they were talking about, gospel music and, how it's conforming or how it's losing. And I was like, the gospel will never lose its power. What's happening is we are turning into an age group is to where we're not walking the songs we're singing, and
Mm.
that's where it's losing the power. And so that transition, as I see it, is if you are speaking gospel, and when I say gospel, and and tell me your input on this. When people say gospel music, gospel means good news, right? And gospel is also scriptures. I ain't out here singing a bunch of scriptures. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be mindful kind of how we categorize it in box and stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't think the message is losing its power. I think the people behind it not living the message is having it to lose its power.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Um, and I also do agree with the. Well, I mean, you just made it clear because I was gonna say that, I feel like sometimes in that space, when I see and hear gospel music artists and things like that, maybe their walk is not lined up with what they singing about. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in line with what you just said. You know,
But it made your
so
music more relatable is what I'm saying. So just when you were talking about, it's like, look, I'm singing, you giving messages, but it's not a message that I'm just going to say, and this is just where I what I got from it. It wasn't a message that's so high over the person on the street getting that word, but it wasn't so low that somebody quote unquote in a church house like I can't get with that. No, it's real. It's really, to me, it's testimonial as well. It's, listen, this is just real life, and this is how God is helping us overcome or giving us the victory and this, that, and another. It's giving what is needed for what is here without compromising the word.
yeah, no, that's it. I mean, if it all boils down to it, at the end of the day, God is my source of inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
and my relationship with Him is so important that it's going to come out in my music.
Right.
I'm not per se a gospel music artist, but it's going to
Right.
come out in my music because that's like whatever people live. You understand? Like if I was if I was a gangster
Yep.
and I was out here doing gangster things and I just happened to start doing music, that's what's gonna come out in my music. Me
Right.
living the life of being a gangster or me living the life of being, whether I'm dabbling in, pharmaceuticals or whatever, you understand?
Absolutely.
So
Facts,
I
facts.
think that whatever it is, it comes out in my music. And that's the intention. The intention is to make sure I'm planting seeds
Yep.
or I'm watering seeds because, I want at the end of the day, I always want God to be pleased with who I am and what I do through music. And
Absolutely.
so I don't have to be necessarily a gospel music artist for him to be pleased with what I do because, I have a different calling.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
calling wasn't to be, in that space. But at the same time, I'm still honoring him with my gift and I want people to be encouraged through it and by it. And, and for him, for me to be able to have his approval. You know what I mean?
And you know, absolutely. And you know that it's his approval when you've got peace with what you've done. No matter what somebody else has to say about it, you know that if you have peace with it, that was what you was purposed to do.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm glad that we got a chance to talk. And I am really excited that you accepted the spotlight because I feel that, your music is out there, like I said, being a positive influence. I believe that, again, you are a shining face of Baltimore. And I do. I shine the light on those who are also shining their light. And so I figure the more power we have and shine in the light, it makes it all that all that much more brighter. You feel me?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
Vaughn, thank you. And you're welcome back. I can't wait to get your music and stuff like that. So, y'all, this is what I'm talking about. This is a better Baltimore. This is really what Baltimore is about, right? And so stay tuned for Facts of the Matter with Tony. And then of course more good music. And guess what? Some of our music that he gonna drop right here on D.O.D. Radio Network. Best self, best life, best radio. Peace. Shine your light on 'em.